to talk about Epic Universe again. I can't help myself. I am obsessed with this theme park. But there's a lot of information out there, and I really want to help you avoid the FOMO and overwhelm when it comes to this park. If you're planning a trip to Universal and to get a day at Epic Universe, like, what do you need to do? What do you need to focus on? Do you have to buy express passes? All these things. There's so many vloggers out there that are putting out their opinions. And, as a practical family, and I'm not getting paid for this YouTube channel, and I am thinking about this from a family of five perspective. And I remember when, we've only been in Florida for 5 years now, but I remember when we were planning vacations coming from the Midwest and what we were going to do and, focusing on the budget and things like that. So I'm coming from that perspective, not somebody who lives in Florida and not a vlogger who's like, oh, I've got to have content so people will watch my channel. I really want to help you have a great family vacation. And if Epic Universe is part of that, then we'll talk about that. If it's not, I've got some other suggestions for you. So hang out with me, and I've got a list so I could probably stay on topic. That's my goal. All right. Some of the vloggers are wasting your time. And I hate to say that, but when you've got things, when people are saying ranking every attraction at Epic Universe, you are missing the point. If you are focused on just the rides at Epic Universe, you are completely missing the whole point of this theme park. And I will have to say that uh, don't waste your money. If that's all you're going to be focused on are these rides, don't waste your money, because that's not the point of Epic. I said this when we were there. I could spend one full day in each land. I would consider each land as a huge attraction. There's so many details and so many layers to those details that if you're just focused on the rides, you're missing the whole point. And that's unfortunate. I I also want to say that don't watch point of view ride POVs for each of the attractions. First of all, those vloggers are not supposed to be video recording on the attractions. Now, I'm not necessarily a rule follower. I do like to bend the rules, but I'm not a rule breaker. And when Universal says no video or photography on the rides, like, I'm going to honor that. Part of that is for safety, because they can't have any loose articles. It slips out of your hand, hurt somebody. But the other part is, like they said, don't do it, so don't do it. Right? So I won't give those vloggers any of my watch hours. I'm not going to waste my time watching those. They're not supposed to be doing it, and it makes me angry that they do it. So don't watch those. But I will tell you that back to the I could spend a full day in each land, Mammoth Club is doing just that. I love watching Molly and Alan with Mammoth Club, and I love their eye for detail and the fact that they notice the little things and they're looking for it, and they are in each land for one full day and they are slowing down, which is the point of these theme parks, and they're really absorbing it and they're pointing it out. They're doing the research, so they can tell you, like, how does this tie in? I have a playlist on my channel, Epic Universe, and it's got some of the best videos that I have found. And they have done 3 lands already so far. They probably will have the next 2 out this week. And we have been watching them. And yeah, I can tell you that there's so much detail. Now, let's go back to, like, your plan of action. Okay. If you are planning to go to Epic and you don't live in the state of Florida, right now, I still believe you have to buy 3 days at Universal. You can get 2-day hopper passes between the 2 or 3 parks. You can include Volcano Bay if you want to, Universal Islands of Adventure, and then you get 1 designated day at Epic. Now, they have released, Universal released operating hours for Epic Universe for May, which it opens May 22nd and through May 31st. People are a little disappointed because it's only opened until 9 p.m. And we'll touch on that in a minute. They have not released operating hours June 1st and beyond, so we don't know how long the park is going to be open. The reason why people are a little upset about the May hours is because if there's any park that was designed to be seen at night, it is Epic Universe. Celestial Park and Dark Universe specifically, those are fabulous at night. And there's so many elements that are better if they're seen at night. So that's why people are upset. Hopefully the operating hours will be extended. And I like what we said, Samara and I, when we went to Epic, it was open until 10 p.m. I think it was like noon until 10. Right now, the operating hours are shifting. They're testing out different elements. It's also based on, I got a bunch of lizards chasing each other here. It's also based on like the staff that they have. They're not fully staffed, the team members. So sometime the operating hours, if you're looking at those as an annual pass holder for the previews, sometimes they're open early and they're only open till 6. And then other times they're open like at noon and then they're open till 10. Thankfully, that's the time that we had. They were open at noon, but we did get there like 10:30. And they opened the park for shopping, like Celestial Park area, at 11. So we were able to go in and grab our power-up bands and look at some of the merch that we were interested in before we went into one of the portals. So I don't know. I don't think I would worry about the operating hours right now. They're always subject to change. The one thing that I would be concerned about with Epic Universe and getting your one designated day is if it rains, because we do get a lot of rain, especially in the summertime, and it is so stinking hot here. It's already hot. And that's going to slow your park day down. That's my only concern. Like when we went to Not So Scary last year, you just have to take a stab. And of course, the day that we went, and ended up pouring on us. So the first parade was canceled. The second parade was shortened. We got a shortened stage show at the end of the day. Not all the characters came out. It was like, okay, well, that's a bummer. We didn't get to ride, all of the rides, like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which we planned to do. So I was like, okay, fine, but I don't want you to be disappointed if something like weather happens on your Epic day. Just go in and absorb everything that you can. I have heard that if you're only going to Epic for one day, which most of the people will be, unless you are Florida residents or you have an annual pass to Universal, you can only get one day at Epic, and then you get the 2 days at the other Universal parks. If you've only got one day, focus on 2 lands. And I kind of agree with that. But let's break down what that looks like. So right now they're saying they're open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And if you're not staying on property, you're not getting that extra hour in the park, although they may let you come in and shop. So if you're there at 8 a.m. and you're waiting, you might be able to hit some of the shops before you're let in. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. Or they may just hold you at the gate and let the people who are staying on property in early. But you're not staying on property, so you're planning 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You've got 12 hours. There are 5 lands. So now you're talking about, that's 2.5 hours per land. I would say that with Celestial Park, you're probably going to spend 2.5 hours in Celestial Park, because that's going to include you walking through Celestial Park to get to the other portals. You have Stardust Racers. You have the carousel, which I highly recommend doing at night, which is going to be difficult if The sun doesn't set here until what, quarter after 8, 8:30, and then the park closes at 9. Maybe if you get in line like right at 8:59, they will still, get you through and get you on the ride, and you'll have it at dark. But there's also the fountain show, which I don't know if they're gonna do. I would hope they would do that. They're talking about fireworks. They're talking about projection on the Helios. We haven't seen any of that yet, but you're 2 to 2.5 hours, standing in line for Stardust Racers, walking through that land to get to the other lands. I would say that's accurate. So let's budget your time, right? So 2 hours, 2.5 hours in that land. Let's say that maybe Dark Universe is not necessarily a priority for you. I would still say go, even if you've got younger kids. You're not going to go through Monsters Unchained. Unfortunately, that is such an amazing attraction. Oh my gosh, I felt like I was in the movie Van Helsing. It's very realistic. And those animatronic monsters, they are up close and personal. I have heard that they even did like a foam dummy test with the werewolf, because he gets really close to you, and they had to move him back a little bit because the foam dummy had scratches on it. So they are not injuring anybody, but let me tell you what, he gets really close. And that ride vehicle, it's not fast, it's not twirly, it's not jerky. You are like strapped into a board, kind of like your Frankenstein himself, and they're tilting you to see everything, and you're like this, and the Phantom is playing the organ and he's looking at you. Wow. You're on your back and the bell swings overhead and you can see Quasimodo in the bell. But I would not take my 12 and 14-year-old on that ride. And actually, Samara, when we went, she closed her eyes through most of it and then would peek a little bit. And now she's like, I want to go back and ride Monsters Unchained. And I'm like, you should have left your eyes open. Duh! It was amazing. I do want to go back and ride that again just to try to soak in more of the details. But I would not take little kids on that ride. And I wouldn't even take my teenager and soon to be a teenager on that ride. As a matter of fact, by the time we go back, he will be 13. There's no way that I would take him on Forbidden Journey. If you've ever been to that ride, if you've ever been on that ride vehicle is definitely swirly twirly and tons of screens, and it can make you a little ill. I do have to close my eyes through quite a bit of it, but the Death Eaters come right up to your face, and that's when they take the in-ride photo, and he was petrified. Mom of the Year right here. He wanted to ride it. We had no idea. He has not ridden it since. He's like, no way. The ride itself is fine, but when those Death Eaters are in your face, he is freaking out. I'm gonna have to find that. I may have shared that when I did our video about Universal, because it's really the funniest thing. But anyway, I would not take them on Monsters Unchained. The Curse of the Werewolf, that is a fun ride, but I wouldn't wait a long time for it. But even just walking through Dark Universe and noticing some of the signs and the lighting and seeing some of the oh, what do you got? You got the violinist that strolls through, so he's a storyteller, like a minstrel, and he's telling the story of Darkmoor. You do have some of your classic monsters. I think you have to go into a building to see Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein, but the Invisible Man is walking around. But just to walk through that land, I would give yourself an hour and a half. So if you take, long story short here, if you take an hour off of Dark Universe, and you go ahead and keep your two hours through Celestial Park. So there's what, 3.5 hours of your, 12-hour day. And then you divide the rest of the time between the other 3 lands. I think that's a good plan. And, time yourself. When you walk through a portal, time yourself. Okay, we're only going to spend an hour and a half in Dark Universe. Set a timer when you walk through the portal and look around. And if you're done in 45 minutes, well, then you've just added more time to another land, but look at those details. That's what I would recommend if you only had one day at Epic. Don't miss out on a land just because it's not something that you're super interested in. At least go through the land and look at all the detail and appreciate the creativity and just the fact that every single thing was thought through. Even the food. The food is highly, highly themed. So that's another thing that I love about Mammoth Club. And the playlist is on my channel. Sorry, I've got a hair that's making me crazy. They are eating a lot of the food in the land because they're spending a full day in each land. And I appreciate their comments and, their descriptions. So that's always good to know. There's not a lot of specific kid-friendly food. You're not going to find your typical theme park food here. So that might be something where maybe you do only go to How to Train Your Dragon to look around and to eat, because there was like mac and cheese bites and smoked sausage with, what did they have, grapes and carrots or something like that. I don't know. It looked fabulous. The kids' meal looked absolutely fabulous. When I go back, that's where I'm gonna go, because we didn't eat in Isle of Burke. We ate a sandwich shop in Celestial Park, which was really good. And then where else did we eat? Oh, we ate in the German restaurant in the Wizarding World, which was probably not my favorite. We tried to eat at the creperie, but they were out of crepes. So anyway, the food thing, but still, Universal is great about you bringing your own food. So don't worry about eating food there and spending all that money, because their food is expensive. But you don't have to eat, 2 or 3 meals there. Maybe get some snacks. One thing that I will say, the prepackaged candy, not good. In Wizarding World, it's not good. I know, we had to go to Honeydukes too, and we had to try some of the candy, but the chocolate is crap, okay? Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's got Pop Rocks in it. Yeah, it's, what is it? Weasley's Wizarding Whizzes or whatever, and it's very highly themed, and there's the chocolate frog, but the chocolate is garbage. So do not think that you are buying quality when you are getting candy there. Honestly, when my daughter wanted a Harry Potter birthday party, I bought frog molds and we made our own frogs, and I can make good chocolates. So that's just, I like to do things myself. If you don't know that about me, if you've never been on my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And I'm trying not to ramble, but I'm like all over the place here. Okay, don't miss the other lands. Okay, I think we've got, oh yes, here we go. One thing that I will not recommend is express passes, because just like each land could be one huge attraction, the express passes are really going to help you focus on just riding the rides, but the queues to the rides are so elaborate and so detailed, and most of them are indoors. Monsters Unchained is indoors. The the Mario Kart one is indoors. The one with the visor thing. Um, that's indoors, and the just the theming and all of the details, and you miss a lot of that with express passes. When we were there, my friend, he is actually on the express pass team. So we were testing out express passes, and we thought they were great, and you could still see some of it, but we were told when we were in Super Nintendo World to come back and look at the queue, specifically the library, because we were missing a big portion of it, and there were so many details by using the Express Pass. And then we watched Mammoth Club Dark Universe, and they were filming all the queue in Monsters Unchained, and we were like, oh my gosh, yeah, we didn't even see any of that. So I would not recommend spending money on Express Passes, and let's be honest, your Express Passes, wait a minute. Okay, whatever. I don't know what these are. Anyway, your express passes are probably going to be, I mean, let's just take a stab at this based on what Universal has. $129 a person. That's almost double your ticket price. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to spend all this extra money on express passes, I would say don't do it. Don't do it. You are going to be grateful for the time in the queue, not only to realize and see all of the detail, but also to be in the air conditioning, because there is no shade in this park. And if you are coming during the summer months, is it going to be hot? So take as much time inside those queues as you can. Okay, let's see. All right, can you do it all? What if you're coming to Florida for a family vacation and you're like, oh, I want to go to all the theme parks. I know there's a lot of people that do Disney and Universal, and honestly, I don't know how y'all do it. There is so much, so much. But I want to give you some tips for like what to do instead of, or what to choose over some other things. I know a lot of people want to bring their little kids to Disney, but Disney is very packed, tons of people, and it's hot. An alternative to Disney, especially if you have kids who don't do well with crowds, Legoland. We absolutely loved our time at Legoland. It is a fabulous park, highly themed. I mean, just to see everything made out of Lego bricks. And the rides are small. So if your kids have never been on any kind of, carnival rides or amusement park rides, like it's a good park to break them into because they are made for smaller kids. I would recommend Legoland over Disney if you have kids that don't do well with people, and we have one of those. And so when we got our Legoland passes, I was grateful for the smaller park and the fewer crowds, the little crowds. If you have kids who are a little bit older, maybe they love coasters, first of all, you want to look at your height requirements, because if they don't meet the height requirements, then you may not want to spend the money on these theme parks, right? Universal, Epic Universe, they are more family coasters, and they are a lot of fun. And they're good medium coasters, I would say. But if you've got big thrill riders, but they're short kids, like my kids were short, it took them forever to grow into some of these huge rides, they might be a little disappointed that they can't ride the big ones. I know that the Hulk at Universal Studios is 56 inches because my son, who was right after he turned 12, maybe right before he turned 12, he finally hit 56 inches. And Samara, again, before we left the Midwest, she couldn't ride the Batman at Six Flags over Mid-America or Mr. Freeze. She wasn't tall enough. So, that was a little disappointing. And we brought a friend with us to Six Flags, and the friend was like, oh my gosh, let's ride Batman. And she's like, I'm not tall enough to ride it. So that was a little difficult. So check your height requirements and check the height of your kiddos if they are coaster riders. Medium coasters, Epic Universe, absolutely. bigger coasters, Universal, and I said this before, some of the attractions at Universal, your kids are not going to understand. Like E.T. Have they ever seen E.T.? I love that attraction because I grew up watching E.T. But when I took my kids, they had no idea what we were doing. Men in Black, absolutely amazing. That attraction is themed. It's like you are there at headquarters. It cracked me up. All the little details. My kids had no clue what we were doing. So if you're going to Universal, you might want to research some of the attractions. Let them watch the movies so that they're familiar with it. That's something that I would do. If you have limited time, let's say that you're coming to Florida for a family vacation, you are kind of wanting to do theme parks, but you're not really sure if your kids are older and if they're tall enough, or if you can do late nights. Honestly, if I was coming to Florida, this is what I would look at, especially in the summertime. It's hotter than blazes. And people who rope drop to fireworks, like, you amaze me because I don't even do that, honestly. And it's a long day with people who, can annoy you, like your own family. You know what I'm talking about? But if you could relax at your resort, hang out at the pool in the morning, and then do an evening event, there are several of those. And this is what I want to share with you. This is one that is not super known outside of Orlando area, but Orlando Informer. They rent out either Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios regularly. Their events are like 6 p.m. till midnight, and it's a ticket only event. The entire park is open. You get to ride all the rides, and all food and beverage is included. That alone is worth the price of a ticket. Like, just to eat all the food. And it's regular food. It's not just snacks. It's real food. That's on my bucket list to do. I want to do one of their events. Now, the downside to that is you're not going to be able to park hop. And the main reason to park hop at Universal is to ride the Hogwarts Express, because it'll go between the two lands. You'll have Universal Studios, you've got London and Diagon Alley over there if you're a Harry Potter fan, and you ride the Hogwarts Express over to Hogsmeade. And then when you're riding back from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley, the show is different both directions. So it's definitely worth the hopper ticket. But if you just do this one day, with the Orlando Informer, you're not going to have that. But if you've got a limited time, it's definitely something to look into and see if you can swing it. The Disney After Hours events, they're doing after hours at Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. They said they were going to do them at Animal Kingdom, but they haven't yet. Now, the good thing about those, all the rides are open. None of the food places are open, which is unfortunate. But you can get into the park a couple hours early, so you can go in there, you could see a show, you could see the nighttime show, you could grab something to eat before your event starts. And snacks are included. So popcorn, bottled drinks, so bottled soda, bottled water, and what else? Mickey bars, the ice cream sandwiches, and the fruit bars. Not pretzels, not churros, but you do have popcorn, bottled drinks, and those ice cream options that are included in the price of your ticket, and then you get to ride all the rides. And it's going to be at night, so it's going to be cooler. I'm telling you, if you're coming to Florida in the summertime, this is the way to do it. If your kids are big coaster riders, and maybe you can't swing the ticket of Orlando Informer or even Disney After Hours, those are going to be a couple $100 each. Do not sleep on SeaWorld Coasters After Dark. It's only like $50 a person. There's no restaurants open. Bring your water bottle. There's not going to be any food or drink included, but Hopefully the freestyles are at least open where you can get water and ice. But those coasters at SeaWorld are amazing. And it's only $50 and it's at night. It's like 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't know if you can get in early. I haven't really looked into it. I keep getting emails and seeing it on the app and on the website. But for $50 and to ride those SeaWorld coasters, oh my goodness. Yeah, 100%. But check your height requirements because SeaWorld, they only have one or two, well, I guess three if you count the water one at Riptide Falls. I can't remember what it's called. You get soaking wet, and I can't even guarantee that would be open late at night. Journey to Atlantis and what's the other one? Penguin Trek. Those two are like 42 inches, 42 inches, but everything else is, you have to be quite a bit taller. The coasters are amazing. They are super smooth. You will not be sad. So if you are just coming to Florida for a family vacation and you want to squeeze in some coasters, but Disney and Universal are out of your price range, Epic's not even an option for you, check out SeaWorld Coasters After Dark. All right. I have rambled on quite a bit. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I promise that I do have a lot of video. I just don't have time to edit it. We have been doing so much. My daughter was in the musical. We're setting up escape rooms this week. Last week it was something else. I don't even remember. Between spring break, and me going to Disney and her in the musical, and we set up a dessert auction. Like it's been like 5 or 6 weeks of nothing but constant activity. So this week we're setting up escape rooms for a church, which I'm super excited about. And I will get video of those too. I need to do more videos and tag this company because this will be the 4th one that we have set up with them, and they're so much fun. And then the next week, I'm finally taking Samara back to Epcot. It's her first time for Flower and Garden this year, and we're going to eat all kinds of food. So I'll probably go live again next week because I just don't have time to edit my video and put out something that's, helpful. And that's what I want to be, is helpful. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this helpful. Sorry for rambling, and we'll see you on my next video.